Now, I would like to give a very warm welcome to our today's panel moderator, our very own Jessica Shunpil, the Vice President, VC and Corporate Partnerships. Over to you, Jessica.
Thank you, ladies, for the introduction and background, and welcome everyone to our VC panel discussion. I will be joined with Michelle Waite from Florida Funders and Rohit Gupta. In any case, I was mentioning I'm joined with Michelle Waite from Florida Funder, as well as Rohit Gupta from Pacific Community Ventures. I'll let you both introduce yourself, and then we can go into just in conversation around VCs and how we support entrepreneurs on especially female entrepreneurs. If you want to kick off.
Yeah, I'll get started. Hi, my name is Michelle Waite. Really nice to be here today. I appreciate the invite, Jessica. I work for Florida Funders. I'm a recent transplant to Florida from San Francisco. I'm not sure how many of you on the phone are familiar with Florida Funders, but just quickly, we are a venture capital firm based in Florida. Our headquarter office is in Tampa, and we have an office in Miami as well. We have 3 funds that have invested in over 78 companies over the last few years. And we just closed our $60 million fund 2 just recently, and we've already invested about 30 companies out of that fund. I guess the secret sauce, or the really interesting part about our firm, is that we not only have the venture capital side, which is a traditional vetting of really great startups, we also have an angel network and portal with over 1,800 angel investors. And I think there's a lot of founders and funders on the call today. I think what's, the value of that is for funders, they get these vetted opportunities to invest as little as $5,000. For founders who are supported through this network, they have this amazing network of mentors and valuable connections with businesses, as well as the ability to have a lot of people under one SPV. So that's just a little bit about Florida Funders. We invest 50% in Florida, despite our name, and 50% outside of Florida in the rest of the US.
Thank you, Michelle. And that's great. You're moving along on the fund. Rohit, your side, I know you've been in the venture capital. I've known you for a while. You bounce on different places, and I was like, oh, it's not Pacific, it's Future Communities Capitals. And I know you're on other funds as well, so I'll let you kind of give a background of the organization that you're representing, but also on yourself. Perfect.
Thank you so much. Really excited to be here. Great companies, and obviously good to see friends like Jessica again. And now that we're kind of coming out of this whole thing, it'd be nice to meet up for a cup of coffee. But Rohit Gupta, I'm Managing Director of Future Communities Capital. We're based in Berkeley, California. Like Michelle, I'm a San Francisco refugee, I guess, but I only went across the bay and not across the country. We invest in early stage companies, usually pre-seed and seed, and we really look for sort of exciting founders who sort of have an innovative model, have something different. I know it's a cliche, but we're really about people and founders first, and it's more than check boxes for us, and we really feel like our founders are critical to our success. And I guess in some ways I have kind of the coolest job. Like my job is making other people successful. So I was very honored to be on this panel.
Thanks, Rohit. It's good to see you. And yes, we'll do that coffee when I come back from Saudi, hopefully in mid-April. But in any case, so Florida Funder, and then on your funds, Rohit, could you tell me a little bit more on the breakdown in terms of, I know you're mentioning supporting founders, but looking at a woman's lens or diversity lens, could you tell me a little bit more of that breakdown, what you look for, and for women who are in your portfolio, what you've seen some of the recurring challenges that they face, and what kind of support you've led or connected for them to touch base. And Rohit, if you want to touch base on that first.
Sure. It's easy for anybody to say that this game is really, it's a meritocracy, and these things don't exist, and women have the same opportunities as men. I probably at one point would have said that myself, but having some female founders in our portfolio and hearing their struggles and their challenges, like it's really apparent that these issues are there every day. What's more interesting to me is that most of the people who do have biases in terms of supporting female founders, it's not an explicit bias, right? So I'll give you a few examples just to kind of start this off on a really kind of grim note. I think for female founders, like if they're not technical, I get asked this question: well, who's the CTO? Who's gonna lead this thing? And like that I don't think I've ever heard somebody ask that about like male founders, right? There's this sort of implicit thing like women cannot build technology. And I tell them, I'm like, I think like for me, I try and be as blunt with people when they say stupid things as I can, it's just like, dude, you would not ask that if this was a guy. You just assume they'd figure it out. Why are you asking this about like two women with a great product? And I think it goes further. It's a lot of this work has to be done sort of on my side of the table, right? So whether it's other VCs or other founders, when they start to say these things, it's just correcting them, right? Because they'll tell me stuff they won't tell anyone else, right?
Right.
If you're not in this club, you're not at the table, you don't get these conversations. Like I've had people, question a woman's ability to do the job, the same job as men. Like, well, are you sure she can handle it? Like, yes, she can handle it. I'm sure she's probably better at this than you are, or like, I had a friend of mine once say, you got to be careful because women want to have kids. I was stunned. And my response is like, men have children too. Like, what do you, how is this? It's shocking to me, but that's like, and this is people who view themselves probably as like progressive and, I'm equal opportunity, I'm all these things. They still say, the fact that they say it means that they think it,
Right.
It's something that really, there's a lot of work to be done for people like me.
Right. So from allyship, right, and putting them back in their corner and putting that seat for getting us on the table. And I appreciate you, and that's why I obviously wanted to have that side. A couple weeks ago, we had mostly female entrepreneurs and investors on our female founder demo day, and it was very much on that lens. But I'm glad to hear on your side as well, because as you're mentioning, there is still that mentality of the bros kind of club. And then I'm sorry, not all women will be moms, but like you said, you're a dad also, right? So like, you're stepping up, you have to, during the pandemic. So there's things. Michelle, on your side, I know you've been on the coin of being as well an entrepreneur. That's how we met originally, right? Before going to VCs. Could you talk to me from your own experience, as there are some first-time founders that are presenting today, and probably some that are listening as well, and some aspiring investors. From your side, what has been some of the challenges as a woman that you face on the entrepreneurship side, but also as you've stepped in the VC space?
Yeah, so I've been a co-founder in a couple of companies, and one happened to be the CEO that Jessica just referenced was a woman. It was in the prop tech space based in San Francisco, and tons of challenges in raising money. I think, it was an amazing concept. It was a business that would scale. It was tech enabled. It wasn't necessarily tech itself, but it was tech enabled. And she had some pretty great people around her. But the fundraising side was a huge challenge for her and the rest of the team. I think, and the sort of sad part about this, it was even where we had somebody who she had brought in to be a potential CTO, who then took some of the idea and started his own company and got very well funded. So it was very disappointing. but I think, a lot of lessons in there. I do think now being on the VC side of things, some of the things that I'm trying to impact. So I'm not a partner in the company. I'm the VP of marketing here, but part of my role here is to build out our angel network. And I started here in August of last year. And one of the things that is part of what I want to enable this year and as we move forward is to increase the number of women investors who are in our angel network, as well as in our future, that are future LPs in any funds that we raise. And I do think that, one of the things that my father-in-law used to always say, the closer you are to the money, the more impact you have on the business. And so I do think that with having more women as investors, that will definitely help change that. We are not an affiliate focused fund or anything like that. So we don't focus specifically on any particular type of person. There are a lot of funds out there that are doing that. That's not who we are, but we want to invest in very, very good companies. And we want to look at how we can diversify our deal flow, which we've been doing quite a bit of recently. And Jessica, I know that you had presented us with some of the other partners that we are talking to and getting that deal flow as well. So I think there's things that are happening in that area. I do feel like the fact that with everything that has happened with COVID and with VCs across the country and from all backgrounds, more so than, coming from San Francisco where everything was in Silicon Valley, I do think that that's helping as well. I think we have a long way to go, but I think things are definitely improving.
Thanks, Michelle. Rohit, on your side of things, when you're mentioning, right, that story of Verbhouse was the prop tech company where their idea was basically stolen by the CTO, right? Like, how do you advise those female founders, those are presenting and first time and those are going, right? How to really vet the team, how do you authentically present the opportunity to investors, and especially when they're interfacing with the opposite, so a male investor from that sense or others, right? Straight VCs. What are some of the key kind of points you would say, or you would empower, right, the founder to approach?
Yeah, not to, hopefully I'm not treading too close to like a stereotype here, but I think in general, women founders tend to be more, honest isn't the right word, but they're more like, this is straight up how the business is, right? Whereas like a male founder will find a way to sort of gloss over things and just, like women tend to be, I guess, conservative is kind of the right word, maybe. I'll give you an example. One of our portfolio companies, they're going out to raise, right? They built a pitch deck, everything looked good, but they kind of tend to undersell their accomplishments. I think that's a better way to put it. They're not just like, hey, look, there's another company, similar, related kind of idea, not the same space, whatever, but they had 14 customers. Our portfolio company had like 10 or 11, and the pitch deck was just so different in tone, right? Because they're saying, oh, we only have this many customers. Whereas the other team, these guys are saying, we have 14, we're crushing the world, So I think when I'm speaking to women founders, like female founders, it's very much in the back of my mind, like they're being forthright about this. They're telling me exactly what's happening. So I don't have to sort of weave through all the nonsense, right? But I think for VCs that are not accustomed to that, they tend to take that at face value, right? And I'm not advocating. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I would agree with that completely. I think, one of the other challenges that I was thinking about was this idea of TAM, right? And how somebody presents what the possibilities are, what the vision are. We're a firm that wants to invest in big ideas that are going to bring big returns for our LPs and our investors. And so it shouldn't be a lie, it should be true. But I think there should be confidence in what that vision can be. And when it's so niche and so small, it's harder to get behind something like that. And it's not necessarily what it is. There is something, a lot of these things are niche and small in the beginning, whether you're a male or a female founder, and the potential for what it could be, I think needs to be presented and believed in a little bit more.
Gotcha. So more like not just looking at the micro, what I've done, but really the opportunity, and then maybe be less humble is also something that I'm hearing. Or right, from that sense, okay, this guy got 14, he's crushing the world. I have 16, right? And to that, how do you leverage LOIs? Like also is that something, I was talking to one founder, she's got 24 LOIs and it was like small on her traction, slide. And I was like, well, this is actually pretty, a good thing to empower. You should even list those. If they're not confidential, list them, put the little logo, right? Like, and I think it speaks to that, Rohit, like, it's something I think as women, we're more humble in a sense and more, straight, but, and also, it may not be, always wanting to put up front what we've done or accomplished. So I think that's something that's a good tip as well to show in difference to the other peers. Yeah. From a business performance perspective, do you see a change in some of the founders that you have in your portfolio that are woman-led, or that have just with startups that have a diverse team? Have you seen business performance being changed? I mean, that's studies showed yes, but just from your own lens of your use case, I'd love to kind of hear throughout your venture journey.
Yeah, I think that there's they do tend to perform better, and for two reasons. One is they're solving problems that they understand and they know. Like the idea that somebody from outside their community, their world, is going to come in and build technology to suit their life, it just seems like it's a step too far, right?
Right.
So they can sell to their community, whereas other people can't, or whatever that is, And the second thing is, I think a lot of people who kind of are outside of traditional power networks, they don't fail upwards, And for the most part, they're very cognizant. They get one shot and they're not going to blow it, right? If there is a sort of cynical hack here, it's go find somebody who can't afford to lose and bet on them, because they're not going to do it. They're not going to blow that shot. They're going to, they're never going to stop.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, someone that has that grit and also a dedication. How about you, Michelle, on your side?
I think it's probably too early to tell on our funds. I will say, I've seen a statistic where that women companies grow 84% compared to men-owned companies that grow, since starting. Whereas the men are growing in the 70s. So there are statistics that are out there. I don't have anything in particular from our own portfolio to say, yeah, this is done better than this. But again, I think it's way too early to tell. We have one it's a woman founder out of San Francisco, actually. And I think this is going to be, and she has the grit, the experience, the determination. She's a rock star, and I really think this is going to be something really to keep an eye on. But again, all of the ones that we've invested in so far are pretty early.
Yeah, and okay, so from that side, early, I've seen also changes, and I haven't. That's a question out of the box, but I just brought on. I was just thinking about it. Also, in terms of valuation, like women founders, I've noticed that there's some discrepancies in terms of other deals. I don't know if you've seen, what would you advise women that are like in their pre-seed, seed, and A will say range for valuation that you're seeing the trends lately. Rohit, on your side.
I'd say historically, female-led teams tend to go for a lower valuation at their funding rounds.
Yeah.
That's just something I've seen. I think it's a combination of sort of women putting a number out there that they think will be more acceptable or whatever.
Right.
And then a combination of like people on my side of the table devaluing women, you know? But like, I think that's starting to change slowly or, glacial pace, but I've met more women recently, founders who just understand their worth and what they're building. And they don't, I'm not saying they're take no prisoners, but they're pretty damn close to saying like, this is what I'm building. And if you're not aligned, if you don't think this is worth this valuation, there's a million other people behind you. Right. They've gotten like, the point is that capital is not the blocking step for a lot of people,
Right.
and they've sort of figured out there are a million investors. I don't need you, you need me. And they're, that's sort of the attitude. Like that's how you FOMO investors do the whole, frenzy round stuff. And they're figuring it out. It's great.
Yeah, no, I mean,
It's bad for
definitely the
business, but it's
momentum.
great. So
Yeah, I mean, for your side, but yeah, there's definitely I've seen that trend of some, but most of them come from the Bay Area. So I think, and I know that we're a global ecosystem and we have some all throughout the US are attending today. So I just wanted to also give that learning, yes, that sometimes women tend to not bring their true value. How about you, Michelle, your side?
I mean, it's an interesting question because I do think the power has shifted over the last few years more to founders that have traction, that have revenue, and are still early stage to, regardless of whether they're women or men, that can, ask for a higher valuation or negotiate a higher valuation. I'm curious to see how that changes. I feel like, things are kind of changing. And one of the things that we've seen is these people that have placed such high valuations on things that are now getting into trouble. I don't think that's what we're talking about here, but that, it's trying to go out there and raise their Series D or Series whatever. And they're having to take a haircut on that, and investors are not happy about that. So I think, we'll probably see that come a little bit back again. Regardless, for this conversation, I think doing the deep work to truly understanding and believing in the value that you bring, seeking business advisors or whatever who can help you with that as well, and being able to tell the story around it. And I don't think it needs to be, I balance that hype thing, because I've seen pitches where it's so hyped that you're just like, really? And again, this could be any kind of founder. But being able to tell that story, tell it well and with confidence, and not be humble, like you said, Jessica, earlier. I think that's a good challenge, and goes to sort of that balance that needs to take place when you're asking for money. But I mean, it's a business, right? You're asking for money. You're asking people to invest in you. They're taking a chance on you. They can get big rewards from it. And so it's making sure you just come to that table and be ready to negotiate what the value is.
No, very good. And very good points in terms of, presenting authentically to investors. And like you said, it is, we're not, I do a lot of nonprofit. This is not nonprofit, right? We're all here for capital. We're all private companies. So from that sense, that's where also founders need to know that as well. Funders have to report to the LPs, right? It's and then you're raising your fund, like you close your 60 million, right, on a Florida funder, and congrats on that. But it's always, right, like there's that. So we're all betting, everybody's betting, on one side.
Yeah, and we've made commitments to investors as well as to who we're investing in. So we have making commitments to both sides, and I think that goes to like sort of if you're going out to raise money from a VC or an angel, well, at least a VC, understanding what their investment thesis is going to be important. So it might be that like for us, as an example, we invest mainly in B2B. We invest mainly in tech-enabled SaaS type products. We're looking for big returns in the end, a big TAM, that sort of thing. And so knowing that and talking to the people that match with what you're doing, we're not gonna, consumer good or something like that. It's not even a good conversation to have because it's not what we have told our investors that we are looking to invest in and bring to them. So
yeah, no, totally. And Rohit, to that, do you receive a lot of decks that totally are out of your thesis? Is that something that founders are just kind of not doing their own diligence in terms of it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. I guess for us, we invest in just about anything. There's certain areas where I don't have expertise, so I'm gonna have to it'll take me a little bit longer to get to some level of confidence on. But diligence is beyond just does it align with this fund, right? It's what is this person really about, right? Like you can kind of look at someone's portfolio and figure out this is the kind of stuff they invest in, and at least if you're not going to do a unique deck, send a unique email. Don't just blast people with the same email. Like a mail merge is not a good move. It's a little bit of work, but it makes a big difference. I don't think I get so much cold spam email. I don't even read it. I don't think anybody reads it. My best advice is find a warm intro. That a warm intro will at least get you a phone call. An email I may never respond to, or if I respond to, if you think about timeline, right? On the off chance I get an email and I read it, and then I gotta go through my whole thing, and I gotta schedule and this and that. A warm intro means person A emails me on behalf of person B. It goes straight to a phone call. Let's talk. Let's go get coffee. I'm gonna honor the person who made the intro and at least take that step. So that's my biggest advice for anyone. Find somebody to network with. I am terrible at LinkedIn. I'm terrible at all that stuff. You got to find somebody who knows me personally, but it goes a long way.
Oh, yeah. No, thanks. And I think we're just too busy. I mean, you're not just full-time, right? Like everybody's got their personal life, as we all aim at being a work-life balance while being on the screen forever. I have 3 screens on, right? So being more, it's true, like not a mail merge, being really personalized, right? And looking at the portfolio and seeing, okay, invested in this and this and this. Maybe you'll be interested, right? So doing that little bit of heavy lifting takes a while, but at the same time, I think it builds confidence for investors as well, because it shows that, you care, that there's, that you understand as well, what you're looking for. So
yeah, not to go further down that road too, but I had a call with the founder last week, and he knew every company in my portfolio and exactly how his solution kind of dovetailed in with them. And that was a little too far. I was kind of like, man, stuff you shouldn't know about me, but it was kind of refreshing that someone did their homework, because a lot of times people get on the phone, it's like, oh, hey, this is what I'm building. I'm like, I've invested in a couple of competitors of yours. Like, did you even know that? Why are you better than them? Because I'm going to ask that.
Right. Yeah. No, yeah, that's good. Do your homework, right? Especially when you outreach to investors. Know your worth, and don't be so humble, right? Create allyship with others. I think those are all very good points that we've shared. I know we're wow, 96. So thank you all for joining and listening to us talk on how we see the world and in terms of empowering female founders and investors. Any other points that you'd like to share? Oh, I do see that we have some QA. Let me just, okay, someone asked specifically how to connect with you, Rohit. I think you've just addressed that. So the last question was in terms of crypto and blockchain, if any of your funds have started investing in that space, and what's kind of your appetite?
I'll start. We've definitely invested in that space recently quite a bit. Miami is super hot crypto space right now, and we do quite a bit of investing in Miami, but Tampa as well. So we do a lot of infrastructure, sort of blockchain, and a little bit of metaverse. The woman founder that I referenced earlier that is going to our angel network soon is she's in the media space and kind of opening up a whole new category in the media space, but is also bringing in the metaverse with it as well. So Web3, big topic for us right now, and something that we're looking at. We're also looking at accepting crypto on our angel network. So I think that's an interesting, meeting of both sides.
Yeah, in terms of investment, you do have some emerging ones coming out of that. How about you, Rohit?
Yes, I've invested in all sorts of stuff. I don't know too much of the kind of pump and dump things, but I think there's a lot of use cases for blockchain. We've invested in a couple blockchain startups. I'm meeting with a crypto fund this afternoon, claim they have some way of generating returns. We will see.
Yeah, good. So that's the question. And I guess any little lightning speed tips that you'd like to share? I know we have 90 plus people here, founders and investors. Any points that you'd like to share, or how to connect with you?
So for me, I would say you can connect with me at michelle@floridafunders.com. And for any founders or funders who are on this call, or any investors on this call, invest in women companies, and I think you won't go wrong. I did want to address one question that seemed to be on there, which is, do you have to live in Florida? We invest outside of Florida as well as Florida.
Yeah, hit me up, rohit@futurecommunities.vc. I will do my best to respond. I think somebody asked, in-person meetings. Yeah, I'd love to. If you're in the Bay, let's get coffee. I would love to get out of my house. What else was in there? A piece of advice. Look,
Yes.
invest in female founders, but I think people on my side of the table need to go further. You need to evaluate your biases, and when someone says something stupid, you need to call them on that every single time. It's not that they're bad people. They just need an education saying, like, this is not acceptable, right? There's a nice way of saying men have children too. Men go on paternity leave. These are acceptable things, that work has to be done.
Right. Oh yeah, thank you so much. I so appreciate you both today. This has definitely made my day, so thank you.